Hey everybody, Joel and Jeremy here. It is February, and you know what that means? That means Groundhog Day, and if the groundhog will tell us if there's 6 more weeks of playoffs coming up. Does that sound good, Jeremy?
Yeah, does the groundhog tell us too how many snow delays or how many makeup dates that we're going to have too? Yeah, knock on wood as we record this, it's been kind of nice so far for us announcers. It's funny because I've actually interviewed a couple of activities directors just over the course of the last week, and they've been saying the same. They're like, hey, I can get used to this. This is the second year in a row they've kind of had this. So it's been nice.
It has certainly been nice. So we're going to talk about February. Honestly, all joking aside, it's the end of the regular season. It's the start of the playoffs, and it's also a time for some really big games. That's where our first game comes in, February 3rd on KGLB. Boys basketball, ACGC versus Mayer Lutheran. That I don't think those two have ever faced off against each other, but now they're in the same section, and now that might be playing for a home game in the playoffs. That's an important game right there.
It is. And I think that, specifically, we always joke, there's the old golf adage where they call Saturday kind of moving day, right? You want to put yourself in position for what's going to happen on Sunday. And to your point about playoffs being just around the corner, Joel, February is moving month for a lot of these teams because now is when you want to be healthy. You want to be playing your best. As you mentioned, now we've got two teams who are new to the section. You've got a Mayer Lutheran team that has got a lot of young talent, but also plays, in their rotation 4 or 5 seniors, an ACGC school that has been known a lot for their boys basketball over the years. And, these are always kind of fun in high school as you've been around a long time like I have, Joel, when you kind of get some of these new school rivalries to form. And, that's what could happen because I think that you've got a program in ACGC that's always been strong. I think you've got a program in Mayer Lutheran with some of the youth in their lineup that is going to continue to rise over the next 3 or 4 years. So ACGC and Mayer Lutheran, this could kind of be a preview or a precursor to what we might see in years to come.
Moving over now, we're going to move over to hockey as Hutchinson will take on Litchfield Dassel Cokato February 11th on KDUZ. And I know you're not the biggest hockey person in the world, but you are big on rivalries. And that rivalry goes back to the inception of both of these two programs. I mean, the first couple of years, and I've heard this from Jim Waldron, Hutch practiced in Litchfield when they didn't have an arena. So that rivalry that's a long time rivalry right there.
Well, first off, Joe, you're right. I'm not a huge puck guy, but I love high school sports and I love high school rivalries. And this is kind of one all the time. We've seen it where one program might be up a little bit, the other one is down. But it's that old adage that when two teams get together, kind of throw the records out. As we record this, we're coming off seeing a Gophers basketball team upset an unbeaten Michigan team. Nobody saw that coming. And, so I think that it's fun, but, while it's fun for the parents and it's fun for the schools, it's more fun for the kids, right? Because trust me, a lot of these kids have skated together. They've probably played on even some of the same teams growing up and now being at separate high schools. Just makes for a fun atmosphere. And, they're in the same situation when we talk about boys and girls basketball or wrestling. This is the final month of the regular season. So for a lot of these seniors, it might be your last chance to get a crack at LDC or get a crack at Hutchinson. And there's a lot of value in that.
When you mentioned wrestling, and because there's a lot of things we don't know about playoffs. We don't know what teams will advance. We don't know this and that. But we do know that for 3 weekends here in February and into the first couple days of March, the atmosphere for the state wrestling and the section wrestling tournament, you got every single school going after, and not just teams, but individuals going after a spot in that state tournament.
When you talk about hockey, Minnesota is always known as the state of hockey, right? And the big state tournament. But, for people who maybe have an opportunity, I know you have, Joel, I have, to be down there, to be down in the cities, when that state tournament comes aboard, it's always funny because I've got a lot of close family members that come from big wrestling backgrounds. And I always joke with them that, gosh, those wrestling people sometimes, they're just a little bit different, and they always kind of chuckle and they say, yes, we are. It's just kind of a different scene. But man, you get down to the X and you see the crowds and you see the excitement, and how many different mats you've got going in there. This is a fun time. And to your point, we don't know what teams are going to come out, but we know that in the area schools that we cover, and you probably know that number better than me, Joel, but we're going to probably have upwards of 30 wrestlers that are going to be wrestling in that state tournament. Some of them for the first time, and some kids who are probably going to be there for the third, fourth, or even fifth time. Trying to get that ultimate dream of not only getting to the state tournament, but trying to place in the state tournament. So it's a fun time of year as we're moving into it. It seems weird because when we're talking next month, we're going to be talking state tournaments. We're going to be talking all of those different things. It's really, really an exciting time for high school sports in February, because we're moving towards, now all of a sudden you can see the end line. And for some, that means the end of careers and the start of new chapters. So there's always those emotions that go into it, but I don't think anything can capture the excitement that we're going to get to experience, especially for a lot of those wrestlers over the course of the next month.
Find those games and more. A schedule is posted weekly at our websites, kduz.com, carpradio.com, and kglb1310.com. That is your games of the month for February. We'll see you in March.